Welcome to Ego Podcast, my friends. I'm Iffa, who will accompany you on this journey of digging deeper into ourselves. In this episode, we will discuss a very interesting topic, which is egoism versus altruism. How can we balance self interest with the desire to do good for others?
Thank you for the invitation, Ifa. I'm Nisna. I'm interested in the discussion of the human mind between ego and empathy.
Misna, in your opinion, what exactly is the difference between egoism and altruism?
Egoism, as I know it, is like a compass that always points to oneself. All actions are driven by self interest without considering the impact on others, whereas altruism is the opposite, which is an action driven by the desire to help others without expecting anything in return.
So you could say that egoism is human nature, right?
Not entirely so. Human nature is complex. We have the potential for both egoism and altruism. What's interesting is how we manage both potential. For example, in a family, someone can show selfishness by prioritizing their personal needs, such as wanting to buy luxury items, even though there are other more pressing needs. However, on the other hand, he can also show an altruistic attitude by helping family members who are in trouble, sacrificing time and energy for happiness of others.
In our daily lives, we are often faced with the dilemma between personal interest and common interest. How can we recognize the sign of egoism in ourselves?
Signs of self-centeredness can be seen in selfishness, difficulty empathizing, and a tendency to blame others. In addition, self-centered people often find it difficult to accept criticisms and feel that they are always right.
What are the negative effects of self-centeredness?
Selfishness can damage relationships with others, make us feel lonely, and hinder personal growth.
Misna, in this modern era, where social media and technology are growing, is there any influence on the behavior of egoism and altruism?
Of course, social media, for example, is often a place where we see unique phenomena. On the one hand, there are people who show altruistic action by donating or helping others and sharing it on social media to inspire. However, on the other hand, there are also those who simply utilize the platform to showcase personal achievement without caring about the impact on others. This shows that technology can be a double edged sword, encouraging us to do good, but also fostering self centeredness if not used wisely.
Well, that's true. So, what can we do to stay balanced in using social media?
We can start by setting a sincere intention before sharing something. Is our goal to inspire others or just to seek validation? In addition, we also need to manage our time so that we don't get so lost in the virtual world that we forget about real life that needs our attention. I think egoism can have quite a negative impact. For example, in the business world, egoism often promotes unhealthy competition. This can lead to conflict among co- coworkers and even loss of trust from customers.
That's right. In politics, egoism can also lead to corruption and nepotism. This creates conflict of interest that are detrimental to society.
Exactly, and in education, egoism can decrease teamwork make competition unhealthy, and even ignore the need of students. This is certainly not good for their development.
Totally agree. Socially, self-centeredness can lead to greater inequality between groups and can trigger conflict within communities and make family relationship.
And of course, in mental health, self centeredness can increase stress, anxiety, and depression. We all know how important mental well being is.
Well, what about altruism? I believe altruism has a more positive impact in business. For example, altruism can increase customer trust and company reputation.
Right, in politics, altruism promotes transparency and fairness, which is very important for the well being of society.
In the field of education, altruism can improve teamwork and empathy among students and help them in character development.
And in the social aspect, altruism contributes to community harmony and increases social awareness. This can have a great impact on the overall well being of society.
Finally, in mental health, altruism can increase happiness and life satisfaction. Our emotional balance is greatly affected by how we interact with others.
So, it's clear that while selfishness can bring some benefits, the negative impacts are much greater. While altruism, while it may not always be immediately beneficial, has very positive long term benefits.
Exactly, Miss Na. Altruism leads us to betterment in many aspects of life. How can we cultivate empathy within ourselves?
One way is to frequently interact with people from different backgrounds. In addition, we can also train ourselves to pay more attention to others' people's feelings.
Mindfulness training can also help, right?
That's right, I've read on one of the Google sites, Halodoc, that mindfulness helps us focus more on the present moment and be aware of our own thoughts and feelings so that we can be more sensitive to feelings of others.
Are there any special techniques to practice mindfulness?
Sure, one simple technique is breathing meditation. Try sitting for a moment, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. Feel every inhale and exhale. This can help us become calmer and more aware of our thoughts.
How can we balance egoism and altruism?
The key is to find the middle point. We need to realize that self-interest is natural, but we also need to consider the impact of our action on others.
So that doesn't mean we have to sacrifice our own interests for the sake of others, right?
Of course not. We need to find ways to fulfill our own needs while still being kind to others.
Are there any real life figures or examples that we can take as inspiration in balancing egoism and altruism?
Many figures can be used as example. For example, Nelson Mandela, who despite having a personal interest in fighting for freedom, also showed tremendous altruism by putting the interest of his people first. He sacrificed his personal freedom for social justice.
Very inspiring. It shows that we can achieve a balance between personal interests and the interests of others. Before we end this episode, let's take a few questions from our listener. Misna, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Absolutely. Let's hear what our listeners have to ask.
How do we deal with someone who is too self-centered in a relationship?
That's a great question. Dealing with self centered individuals can be challenging. The first step is to communicate openly. Express how their behavior makes you feel using I statements to avoid sounding accusatory. For example, say, I feel hurt when my needs are overloaded. Secondly, set clear boundaries and ensure the relationship remains healthy for both parties. If the person is willing, encourage self reflection or therapy to help them manage their egoism.
That's helpful advice, Miss Na. Communication really is key in any relationship. Can altruism sometimes be harmful if taken too far?
Definitely, excessive altruism, also known as pathological altruism, can lead to burnout or neglect of one's own needs. For example, always putting others first without caring for yourself can result in stress and resentment over time. Balance is essential. You can still help others without compromising your well being. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish, it's necessary.
How do we encourage altruism in children without making it feel forced?
Encouraging altruism in children starts with modeling the behavior yourself. Children often learn by observing adults. Create opportunities for them to help others in meaningful ways, such as volunteering or small acts of kindness. Praise their effort and explain the positive impact their action have on others. However, don't pressure them, let altruism develop naturally as a part of their character.
I love that approach, Miss Na. Leading by example is powerful. Question 4. Is it possible to balance egoism and altruism in highly competitive environments like at work?
Yes, it's challenging but possible. In competitive environments, focus on collaborative competition. Strive to achieve your goal while also supporting others in their success. Practicing empathy, giving credit where it's due, and fostering teamwork can help balance egoism and altruism by lifting others up. You also build a positive reputation and a more supportive environment.
Before we close, Miss Na, is there any final message you'd like to share with our listeners?
Of course, Ifa, I would like to remind you that the journey to balance between egoism and altruism starts with self reflection. Take time to ask yourself, what is the purpose of my action? Is it for my own good or does it also benefit others? By constantly asking such questions, we can become wiser and more empathetic individuals.
A very inspiring message. Miss Na, thank you again for your time and great insight.
You're welcome, Ifa. Hopefully, all listeners can start to find the balance in their lives.
Friends, I hope this episode has given you a new perspective on yourself. Don't forget to share this podcast with your friends. See you in the next episode.
See you.